Hello all you Stranger Things loving cosmonauts, as always I'm Cosmic and Happy New Year. It is officially January 2017 and this time for my first video of 2017 I'm going back to 2016 to review a game that I missed that was recommended to me by ACG and I found absolutely incredible, and that is of course Oxenfree, which is a supernatural thriller about a group of young teenage friends who go to an island and have a supernatural experience and have to solve mysteries and try and get out of the island alive. The game is an indie game and it was developed by Night Skill Studio, and they also self-published the game. At its core, the game is a 2.5D puzzle platforming adventure. However, I do hesitate to say the puzzle platforming part because yes, there are certainly puzzles in there, but there's a severe lack of platforming as you would come to know it in the traditional sense. You are moving around and there are some climbing sections, but it's nothing that I would call a true platforming experience, so to speak. Now the game places you in the role of Alex, a young girl who has just had her parent marry another parent, and so she has a new stepbrother, Jonas, and they've been invited to an overnight island party, and so you bring your new stepbrother, and it's basically the first time that you've ever met, and you meet up with a group of friends, and your intention is to go on the beach of this island, start a campfire and drink and party all night long. However, the island has other things in store for you. Now, I'm not going to spoil the story, but I will say this. The story is fantastic. It is very gripping. It is very immersive. I like the little choice and consequences. The overall plotline of the story stays the same, but depending on your reactions to certain events, then things play out slightly differently, which gives the game a hell of a lot of replayability in that sense. My favourite part of the story is the fact that it is very much like Stranger Things before Stranger Things was an actual thing, in the sense that it is a supernatural thriller. You have these young people involved and it's a mystery about to find out what the hell is going on. It's not very explanatory. It gives you little hints and little clues throughout the game, but it's about you as the player piecing it together and coming up with your own theories until the reveal at the end. I also like the fact that the game is very dialogue heavy. It is very centric about these characters. The characters are very important and they are represented each with a different colour speech bar, so that when you hear them on the radio or over the speaker system or something like that, you can tell who's talking. The voice actors did a great job. Each character is very distinct, has a great personality, a very unique and distinct personality, and what makes this game great, it is the fact that it's not only about exploring this supernatural thriller, this mystery, what the hell is going on in the island, but it's also about interacting with this group of friends and these people which all have very different personalities. Your responses dictate how they feel about you and how they react to you, which also changes certain things in the game. And for me, I love that type of game because it adds layers of depth in terms of narrative, because you have the overall plot line and then you have all these subplots between these different characters. The story itself and the voice acting is backed up by a fantastic soundtrack as well as the sound effects in the game. I have to say that I was very impressed with the soundtrack, and it's probably one of my favourite things about the game. Fans of things like Stranger Things will absolutely instantly fall in love because you have a mix of these ambient, creepy, atmospheric synth sounds, and then it dives into old 30s music, 40s music, and it's absolutely incredible. It's so much fun, and I absolutely loved listening to the soundtrack, even so much so that I actually went and bought the soundtrack separate anyway. On top of that is, of course, the art style, and at first I was a little bit standoffish of the art style, but I have to say it grew on me immensely. And I found that the backdrops and the hand-drawn aesthetics and the way that the characters are designed really helped reinforce the entirety of the narrative and the entirety of the overall atmosphere of the game. And it was just something that was visually and audibly absolutely fantastic from start to finish. If you're not a fan of story-driven games and dialogue-heavy systems, then probably Oxenfree isn't going to be for you. I would certainly recommend giving it a try to those people because it's one of the better games that do that, and I think that a lot of people will enjoy this even if they don't particularly enjoy the type of game that it is. That being said, people looking for mechanical depth are not going to find it. It is a very simplistic game. There are puzzles in the game, but they're not particularly difficult to get through. There's no sense of gameplay variety. You're basically doing the exact same thing all the time. You're moving around the island, you're using your radio to tune into certain frequencies, you're looking around the map, you're doing dialogue, you're making story choices, but other than that, you're not exactly having all these different types of things to do. There are some really interesting moments in the game, and I don't really want to spoil them, and there's some things that are a lot of fun, and the entire story and the atmosphere makes those moments feel very tense and have a sense of urgency about them, but mechanically, it is no different from the rest of the game. Now, even saying that, Oxenfree is absolutely fantastic, and I say this coming from the perspective of someone who does not like 2D puzzle platformers, who does not like story-driven games without mechanical depth, and I absolutely adored it from start to finish. It was sublime. The emotional connection that I felt with the characters is something that very rarely happens, and you really start to care about these you start to care about these characters, you start to care about how you react to certain characters because you want to develop that relationship in the game. You care about the mysteries going on in the surrounding story, and it's just something that just grips you. It was truly executed so well, and I certainly recommend it to everyone, regardless of if you really are a fan or really are not a fan of this type of game. This is a game that I think is one of those gems that it should appeal, in theory, to the majority of people, and I think people who won't usually enjoy a game like this, they will enjoy Oxenfree because it is so good, it is so fun, it is so well executed, and it is just absolutely outstanding from start to finish. I have to say that it's probably the closest video games have come in a long time to having an interactive movie in that sense. I think if you look at it as a traditional video game, you might get a little bit bored, but if you look at it as an interactive story, look at it as, playing Stranger Things the game, and you will have an absolute blast. So that is my review of Oxenfree. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Let me know what your thoughts are on the game in the comments section below. As always, please hit the like button and make sure to subscribe, and I will see you next time.